Insanity, insanity, whatever happened to humanity?
Omori is a 2020 role-playing game that has been developed and published by the indie studio Omocat. It is also based on a director's webcomic series. In this game, you control a hikikomori boy named Sunny and his dream world alter ego Omori. They explore both the real world and the surreal dream world to overcome their dream-like fears and secrets. I thought this game was fantastic. Now, I was approaching this game with a grain of salt because I'm not really into RPG games like that, especially when it comes to turn-based. Omori is turn-based, but what pulled me in is that me seeing footages of this game and me knowing the story to it, and I just love the animation quality of the game. So I ended up trying this game out with a fair price. It was very cheap when I ended up finding out how much this game was. But what really pulled me in was the story, the cinematography of the characters, and just me being intertwined with the gameplay and just knowing how things was getting followed in place. I love this game so much to the point where I took my time with it. If you play this, you would definitely get the feels of the old school RPG games that we know and love, such as Pokemon Gold and Silver, The Legend of Zelda, and Earthbound Mother. This game major strength is basically everything. You start off in the story of you being Omori, and it gets confusing, but you have to play the game so you can know the terminology of how everything is getting taken place, and it begins to make sense a lot. The game starts off where your friend Basil is missing, and you begin to try to find out where he is. But as you begin to find out where he is, you begin to find out more things with your characters that helps you out on this journey. And these characters do not feel like side characters. These characters do play a long, good part in this journey. In fact, they have their own scenarios of why they're helping you out too. You begin to find out certain things that you can relate to with these characters when it comes to their fears, their strengths, their weaknesses, and their deep, darkest emotions when it comes to them overcoming obstacles so they can progress through the story, and by you being intertwined with each of them. The kidnapped friend Basil actually pulled me in too. I was hoping that they would give me some type of innovation of why I should care about Basil other than the people that I was playing with was caring about him. But no, like they showed so much innovation with Basil's character. I was beginning to feel for Basil, and I was beginning to like Basil so much to the point where I really wanted to get pulled in with this character. But as you get deep into this game and you begin to know more about these characters, you begin to see the aspect of how things get taken place in a drama aspect, emotional aspect, depressing aspect, and in the horror aspect. And at one point I was surprised that this game was rated M for mature, but the reason why it's rated M for mature is because it shows you the deep, dark emotions of each of these characters, even if they're just children. I was indeed pulled by the story and the designs of them facing their depression and by them facing their fears. I really felt like a kid again, and not by a good way. There were times where I had to go through certain obstacles with each of these characters, such as them overcoming their fears, such as them being afraid of drowning, being afraid of heights, being afraid of spiders, and also being afraid of just certain obstacles that just they don't feel comfortable with. Like there was one time where Omori was looking through a door and a shadowy dark figure showed up. I was getting chills, and I was getting very, very uncomfortable vibes of me being as a kid and me remembering something very similar to that. When I was a kid and I was on my grandfather's house, there was a vent that was on the other side of the freezer, and I ended up looking inside this vent and I saw something in a demonic way staring right back at me. I still remember that towards this day, and Omori was bringing those feels back. Not just by what I mentioned, but a lot of other horrific feels that brought me into that age of just me wanting to play this game in the middle of the night. When you play this game at night, you are going to feel like somebody is fucking watching you. People that said this game is scary are not really full of shit. They are definitely telling you the truth of this game. And this is coming from somebody that looks at these type of things and judge it by the way how they are. Because even though I get scared easily, I don't pussyfoot around when it comes to how the scares work. Omori is great when it comes to you being pulled in by each aspect. When you feel that the characters are emotionally afraid, you feel afraid for them. When you feel like these characters can't overcome obstacles, you feel that strength and adrenaline being in your soul. When you feel like these characters may lose in a battle or they may have the odds stacked against them, there are times when you do feel that way, even though you may have the upper hand. This game is great when it comes to you being in relation to these characters and you being pulled in by them coming out of these obstacles and hoping that they can make it out alive. This game is also very beautiful and well designed too when it comes to the art style of this anime. Now, as you can see, the art style is really not over the top when it comes to the graphics, but it pulls you in when it comes to the crayon coloring book style of the art style of the anime. Even when it comes to the combat is based on certain weaknesses of the character's emotions. So is the enemies too. Sadness, happiness, and anger. And each of these have an elemental strive of how you attack these enemies. I thought it was very creative and well done, especially when it comes to design of these enemies. Some of these enemies was cute, some of these enemies was frightening, some of these enemies was terrifying, some of these enemies was traumatizing. They knew how to mix the beauty and the dramatic aspects of this game and know how to add fun and know how to have fun with it. Not to the point where you felt out of place. No, Omori knew when to add this stuff to it and when to take the stuff away. I feel like if the main creator of Disney and Alfred Hitchcock saw this, they'll probably make something like this as well. Even though I'm picky with RPGs and I don't really play much of them because of how strict my taste is when it comes to video games, I know it may not be saying much about me saying that Omori might be one of the best RPG games I've ever played in existence. I honestly cannot excuse the issues that this game has that I have experienced. Even though this game's main strengths is basically all the things that I mentioned, especially when it comes to the level design and the pacing of these characters, but there's so much backtracking on this game to the point where I was literally getting frustrated. Same thing when it comes to certain areas that I felt like that was unnecessary, especially when it comes to you in the search of Basil. Some of these levels on this game was worth a damn, especially when the characters such as Kale, Aubrey, and Omori and Hiro was mentioning that they need to find Basil no matter what. Even though that was in my mindset, they will say these things just so you can be aware of what they're doing. But certain areas of the game really dragged out to the point where I really was asking myself, what is the point of you adding all this to the game if there's no type of recirculation of Basil being here? Now, some games do have certain areas where it's meaningless to the criminology of the main story, but add something to the game, to that part, to where we can relate to the characters even more. How about add something more to Omori's side point of view, or Hiro, or everybody else? This game's main focus is Omori and everybody else, but at the same time, I feel like they could add more to these characters. Backtracking, like I mentioned, is a bother also. Now, the backtracking is a choice, but at the same time, I had to backtrack so I can complete every single side mission of the game. Now, people were saying that you have to collect every single thing and do every single side mission so you can unlock the secret ending. But I wasn't taking any chances. I was like, is this true? Is this not true? So I ended up doing everything. So it ended up making me feel as if, man, this is really dragging out. So it was basically my fault, but at the same time, it's my opinion. But overall, I thought Omori was a very good game. Other than those two things that I mentioned, of it dragging, and at the same time with it, when it comes to the unnecessary level that I have witnessed. Now, people that have played Omori, I'm pretty sure they can agree with the levels that they have witnessed, that I've witnessed. All I'm going to say is this: sweetheart. I'm going to have to give Omori A-. The game is great. The game is fantastic. Probably one of the best games I played this year other than Stray. So that's saying a lot. But at the same time, unlike Stray, this game is not perfect. But at the same time, I do recommend you people to play this game if y'all have not played it on the Switch, and if you've not played it on the other new generation consoles. Well, that's all I have to say today. Please stay tuned for more of my upcoming reviews and videos headed your way. This is Hugo, your critic teacher, and you guys have a good day.